mental block to overcome for most teams.
Ooh. And we see Brax is open, and Raven actually banned Dragonshire again. A smart choice, because oftentimes they were out-rotated, and Black will out-rotate you. And if you leave that map open, but game number 1, we are going into Spider Queen, and map chosen by Black, of course. First pick, first ban will go to Raven. And as you talked about, I think it's because first when Black formed, well, at least not as this roster, because Rich was initially missing, but they actually have 4 assassins, 4 DPS, and Kyocha was a flex. So they had no support. They have so much ability to play heroes like Greymane, Rich, Sake, Reset. Even Kyocha can play with Greymane. I think that has been the biggest tool for Black to actually climb and adapt to this meta. I think they're nearly perfection at completing the meta. I wonder how things will shift, of course, starting next weekend with Kel'Thuzad coming in.
I mean, if we think about how virtually every single team in HGC Korea had to reshuffle their rosters going into Phase 2, you could easily argue that the teams are ranked right now in the order that they acclimatized quickly to their new structure and knew how to play together as a team, a new team with new roles. So MVP Black definitely looking the most solid in the region, and we're seeing a bit of a very resident sleeper opening to this draft. I mean, Genji,
yeah, that's why we're not
ban.
mentioning it.
Yeah, that's why we're not talking
but
about
ETC is open for Raven, and ooh, they have been picking a lot of supports from the beginning. Even if when they had 2 picks open, they actually picked both of the supports from the beginning.
And Chom has really been focusing on that Rhaegar lately over the course of the entire phase. I still think that he has played Uther one more time than Rhaegar, but recently in the Garrosh balance patch, he has been prioritizing Rhaegar, and in general, the Korean region has been extraordinarily prioritizing Rhaegar in their drafts. And it's sort of interesting because in Korea, Rhaegar has a 66% win rate in the latest patch, whereas in Europe, he is still very popular, but his win rate is abysmal. So
I think it's similar to Auriel. Auriel also has a higher win rate in Korea, especially, but around half and half in Europe. I think that's a really big tool. Rhaegar, the big thing about how the support changed, of course, Rhaegar didn't get any change, obviously, but having a cleanse and having a lot of these supports not anymore having the cleanse anymore, I think that's a big tool coming in. Uther getting some nerfed, even with the cleanse. I think Rhaegar stands up top with the Ancestral. That big burst healing at clutch moment is really making the team fight happening all the time. So I think that's exactly why we have Rhaegar, and we see a Lunara adaptation coming out from Raven now.
Very interesting. I mean, all of these picks and bans so far have been well within the boundaries of what has been popular in the last patch. Rhaegar, Uther, Tyrael, Tassadar, all were in the top 10, even the top 7 even when it comes to popularity in drafts. So not too much to talk about there, but Lunara, I think this is interesting because Lunara has seen a huge amount of success in the past draft, and also when we talk about Raven in particular, I believe that NMX31 is 3-1 on Lunara in recent weeks. So this pretty much has been within Raven's 2 most successful heroes, because their most successful hero is Hamelin on Artanis, which is 3 wins and 0 losses. So if they pick up Artanis as well in the last rotation of the draft, then they will be going in to this game with all guns blazing, basically. It will be literally their best picks.
And of course Diablo ban, because it is one of Theong's best hero on himself. ETC ban from Raven's side for the map control. But Black already... Rag! Have not seen you for a while. Hello there.
Very surprising. And quite of an interesting pickup, I would say.
That's right. Rag got nerfed several times, if not too many times, in every other patches. And I don't think we have seen Rag for 2 entire weekends or even more.
I mean, you could always argue that Ragnaros is relevant on this map in particular, and I mean, Sake has always been one of the best Ragnaros players in the world. He is very cerebral, as we always say, when he is given these heroes in which he can become the team's main macro player on. That's why he's such a good foul stat, etc. But I don't know. Especially against Lunara, I'm not entirely sure if that's the melee flex hero that you want to take into such a mobile assassin, but let's see what MVP Black has in mind with the last pick.
Yes, I think the Rag comes really handy when you have to defend the Web Weavers, especially with that Molten Core. If you time it right, you can defend your own fort and actually to damage onto the other lane because the lanes are so close together. I think that's a pretty decent pickup for Black. What's the last Ravens pick? Are they going to just do solo Lunara carry?
I mean, if we go into the Raven mode of thinking, it might be triple support because God knows what they will pick up. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little Tracer. Wow.
Okay, did not expect that to happen. Double ranged assassins coming out.
I mean, we have seen this happen from time to time, and it was actually MVP Black that sometimes used this manner of drafting because the thing they would often do, particularly on battlegrounds such as Battlefield of Eternity, was picking something like Vala Tassadar, but then suddenly last picking Tracer and giving it to Ridge so that, you know, they could feel more flexible with who to empower with the Tassadar's shield at any given moment in time. And generally, MVP Black has been absolutely brilliant at pulling that off.
That was different because it was usually Q Vala, and Vala went for the camp timings instead, and the main damage source, of course, was Tracer. But this case, I don't think it's the same with Lunara, though. It worries me a lot, actually.
I mean, there are so many things that MVP Black could pick up here to address that.
Jaina is here, boys! Oh yes! You get the new quest now.
To be completely honest,
give it to me, Riley.
I'm getting the vague impression that MVP Black isn't giving Raven's draft, or Raven as a whole, all of the respect that a competitor deserves, to put it mildly. But I'm super excited to see how Ragnaros and Jaina function in the hands of these players.
Well, we'll see very soon as we are about to jump into the first map. Tomb of the Spider Queen between Raven and Black. We have Jaina in our hands and double ranged assassins on the other side. Let's go into game number 1. Of course, we were too excited to go and jump into game number 1, and we have a slight pause as the technical esports term is a toilet issue.
Toilet issue, bathroom issue.
It is not 3-2. It is not 3-2-3 yet, as we didn't even start the game yet. Well, I'm excited for Jaina. As Wolf, I'm pretty sure if he was here, he would be screaming about Jaina.
I can imagine.
Yes, he was screaming last weekend about Jaina, but the rework is real. Once you finish the quests, I think she can do a lot more, bring in the burst damage. They don't have a double support, though. Do you think that's going to be a problem?
To be honest, like, double support, the general topic is something that we probably will be talking about a lot today, but I find it so interesting how Korea has adopted the double support meta a whole, like, 2 or 3 months later than the rest of Europe, the rest of North America, and in general, when we look across the major regions in HGC right now, we see that the West has clearly moved away from the oversaturation of double support compositions, and if we look at the statistics, we see that double support isn't as popular and has also been falling in win rate, whereas in Korea and to a lesser extent in China, we see so much double support to the point where over 50% of the drafts are double support right now, and they are also the most winningest drafts, but here we see Raven.
Well, Raven, Darvish on Tastar, Hamlin on Tracer, NMX on Lunara, Diong on Johanna, and Chum on Rhaegar.
And for MVP Black in red, we see Reset on Greymane, Sake on Jaina, Kyocha on Uther, Rich on Ragnaros, and Tist on Tyrael.
Oh yes. It's been a while we had Jaina. In Korea especially.
I'm glad to see Sake play it first, the reworked version of this hero, because he has been such a great mage player regardless of what he plays.
That's
Leeming,
right.
well, maybe Leeming wasn't his best, but he was a kick-ass Gul'dan, he was a great Kel'Thas, and he was a good Jaina as well, even before the rework.
Yeah, and next weekend I'm pretty sure when Kel'Thuzad comes in, he will be the one playing from MVP Black. I'm very sure. And he is already very excited. Here comes Diong to soak in some damage. And Sake, he will be stacking in that quest. We see a common swap. Rag going to lane swap between both teams. Actually swapping bot and top. Hamlin, you cannot go dive in like that if you're Tracer. You can just blow up.
That would have been very demoralizing if he had died right there, but
Ooh,
Sake!
Was close.
Beware the wolf. I mean, you should never, yeah, like you should never underestimate the damage output that Rhaegar can put out. And Sake, maybe he's testing his limits on the new hero. We don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it was his first game playing the reworked Jaina, like right now, live on stage, because a lot of HGC KR players have been known to do that before. You remember Honkano's interview that he played maybe like 2 games of Lucio before playing it on stage. Crazy stuff like that, but it happens, and more often than not it works out, because sometimes, you know, the hero that will best work in the draft is not necessarily the one that you practice most, but sometimes you have to do what you have to do.
Yep. And Rally, I have a question for you. This may be a trap card. Do you think we'll see Water Elemental?
Actually, like, in general, I would be more tempted to say no, but considering the fact that you have to play around Lunara and Tracer and stuff like Tassadar, who can get out of the rings with Dimensional Shift, and Johanna even has a trait that makes her unstoppable, thinking of all these things, I think it would be safer for Sake to pick Water Elemental, but the problem is that, you know, MVP Black, when they disrespect the opposition, they disrespect the opposition, so nothing too...
Oh, that false bomb miss, it was a big thing. I think that could have been a kill if it landed on the trio. So you're saying no? Yes. Ring of Frost.
I'm
for
giving
the win,
a
guys.
cop-out answer, but I'm just hoping for Ring of Frost because...
The buff was not enough. Yeah, that was the trap card. Well, Sake has been doing tons of damage. Maybe he'll finish the quest and get the ice block around level 10. That's a pretty decent time and actually to finish the quest if you can do so much burst damage.
And speaking of popular choices and unpopular choices, I'm really tired of seeing Greymane. What about you? I mean, Greymane is an exciting hero to watch in combat. Very mobile, lots of burst damage, which is always fun to watch, but him being such a safe pick in literally all circumstances, to the point where you can first pick it in any match or take him any time in the rotation and still be okay every time. I don't know if I like the state of mobile assassins at the moment.
Well, I think it'll change a lot more with just one mage coming in, with Kel'Thuzad comes in, and I'm sure there will be another balance patch coming up very soon. I think it's because a lot of other assassins were nerfed, and Greymane was untouched for such a long time that Greymane, because of that, rose up in a way, because everything else was pretty much nerfed, and Greymane is a very balanced with the wave clear, the gank potential also, you can take the kill if you want to. I think Greymane is a very balanced hero in the meta right now that he's going to stay for a long time. So I like Greymane coming out. Yes, I like Greymane just out in all the games. He's really good.
I guess like the reason why a lot of people find Greymane to be a little bit underwhelming right now is because we all remember the times when Greymane used to be a super exciting pick, a super risky pick, but no longer. Raven is now the safest pick in the game now, and maybe we can't get over that dissonance.
We'll see as we head into possibly a gank on the Chum. Okay, the entire crew is coming in for a turn around, just taking so much damage, but the armor is helping pretty nicely. Without that 15 armor, I think Tyrael could have died there.
I can't believe that we're now 5 minutes into your Raven versus MVP Black and not a single kill has occurred. Very different from the games we used to see last time they faced together, and Raven are really taking it seriously so far.
It's also partially because they picked Rag instead of some other solo laner who can just wave clear and just soak in and help ganking into other lane. I'm talking about MVP Black, of course. If they pick something like Leoric or Sonya or Martial to just absolutely just destroy the solo lane, I think they could have pushed a lot more. I think they pushed in. They changed their way onto defensive style, especially because they want to have Jaina finish her quest and then do massive amount of burst damage later on. I think they are onto something, somewhat of a testing from MVP Black, I would say.
Definitely, as you said, a lot of quest talents on the side of MVP Black, so definitely not a bad idea to take it a bit more safe, especially because their main tank doesn't have hard CC, so it's not like where you have ETC or Murden and you can just go roaming around the map as a death ball of 4, especially when you have Uther to have the follow-up stun, but since they only have the Tyrael, I guess it makes sense. And whenever I see MVP Black playing Ragnaros on the first kill of the game.
Oh, there's a first blood onto Lunara, though.
So close by the Observer, he could have got that, but
Kitor's there as
we're getting there.
It was close.
It was close.
And now this one is a big one because it's right before 10. That's the thing. And look at it. They're diving in from the towers into the fort. And let's see how long this lasts.
This couldn't have happened at a
Water
worse time.
Elemental!
Oh. So MVP Black are giving Raven their due respect. Now this is a game with full respect on both sides. Are you excited for all this respect?
I am.
Are you excited to see a big jelly made of water throwing out auto attacks instead of a really hype ring? I mean,
oh, Tracer died.
Tracer died.
I don't know what happened, but okay.
Sometimes that happens. We all can't be perfect.
That's right. No one's perfect, guys, and
not even our Observer.
Yep. Even MVP Black's not perfect, but so far they have been pushing in,
and so far they have been perfect, I guess.
It used to be level 9 to level 9, and since that first kill and the summon of the Web Weavers, it became a 2-level lead somehow. Oh, that push was really strong, of course, with Rag, even more with Jaina. I don't think Jaina really got her chance to finish the quest at all because they have not been fighting too much, actually. But it seems like it doesn't even matter at the moment. And as soon as the Weavers are gone, they're going for the boss, and can Raven spot this or stop this from happening?
I don't think the way that they are laid out on the map right now, it allows Raven to make a defensive attempt, so MVP Black getting this boss for free. Not too happy Raven will be with their spot they are in right now, and it would have been much better if they took a bit more proactive measures to counteract that boss, such as, I don't know, they could have also made a play for the 6 o'clock camp as well, since it was very, very obvious that they were doing the boss. But I don't think Raven feels very confident right now, not after suddenly giving out 2 kills and falling behind at such a steep pace like that. Suddenly, they were having equal turn-ins, they were at equal levels, no one had died, but right like that, because they lost a member right before the other team hit 10. Now they are on the brink of being down 3 levels and more than 3 structures.
Yeah, it's simply just better rotational work coming out from MVP Black. They really pushed in, so Raven took a long time to actually wave clear. There's not too many tools from Raven, not as much as Black for sure, to wave clear. So that took a long time. They went for their own camp on their side because they wanted to be safe, because they had no idea where Black was. And they got the boss. I think that was a smarter choice, of course.
And this is a thing that a lot of players, especially Korean players, tend to say, and I think it's true to most of the time, but oh good Ancestral landing there. Not that it will change the flow of the game, of course, but...
Nice Divine Shield blocking the Pulse Bomb, and then MXS has been doing one-on-one with the Water Elemental and forced the Hearts back home.
MVP Black managed to take down this keep.
This was a pretty... It seems like a slow push, but it was well executed by Black. They defended they had all the defensive tools, and they still have Sank. I think that's the big tool. Maybe they will actually go for the core because they have Sank. If they get a few more kills here at the bottom keep.
This has to be so frustrating for Raven, using the trait like that, using Molten Core like that, just to take down a keep with the skill damage. Raven look very desperate right now. They don't have Ancestral. They need to be careful.
Nice
Perfect.
pick off. Lunara blows apart. Rich just targeting there.
Well, we hope that this wouldn't be a stomp, and it wasn't for the longest early game, but now 3 keeps down, 4 levels down. Oh, 2 heroes
kill.
down. Yeah, this is going to be core.
Double DPS dead. Sanctification available for Black. This will be core. There's the press of a button to secure the game. That will be closed. Young doing what he can with the trait. The core is going down 50% less. Lunara comes back in time, but is it going to be enough? The core is going down. All the members are still safe and Black, and that's game 1. Actually got a kill onto Jaina.
That denies Black the perfect game. So in essence, Raven sort of won, right? It was about to be a perfect game. They were like 16 kills to nothing. All of the structures for nothing. But
Rally?
in the end,
Can I
Jaina
say
died.
this?
Yes?
You are the best color caster
What?
I have ever heard.
No, I'm the most toxic caster that you ever had to work with.
Yes, but
And
that
in
was
contrast,
game 1.
that makes you look like a saint. That should put you on the good side of most viewers, but
Thank you.
anyway.
Well, that was game 1, and was very excited to see what Elemental has
you did get very
it's been
excited.
a while. But as you said, Lunara had to do with that Water Elemental alone and really got her out of the fight. They pushed in because of that, and also had a pretty good rotation. They only used the tools they had to when the Pulse Bomb was hit. They only used the shield. Sanctification never really used because Raven never came in towards MVP Black. They were falling behind. Jaina seems like a very good tool to actually kite back when Lunara is chasing you. I think that was a big factor that MVP Black had in game 1.
So overall, MVP Black making very good use of all of their skill levels. They are heroes. And something that I wanted to say earlier, but it didn't make it happening because the game suddenly ended. But the thing is, when you're behind, but you have like literally 0 hard CC on your team, it's so difficult to stage a comeback. And I believe that Tassadar taking Force Wall was in part to make a difference because, you know, just taking Archon doesn't cut it when you're 4 levels behind and have no other CC. But I still think it wasn't enough because all they had was Johanna's ultimate and then pretty much nothing else. So you can't really get picks. All you can do is to hope to burst someone down. But then again, when you have 0 CC and the only burst damage on your team is Tracer's Pulse Bomb and the other assassin is Lunara, then you can't exactly burst anyone down either. So with Raven's draft, it was imperative that they stay ahead in the early game, which is what MVP Black tends to do when they take a range assassin plus Tassadar plus Tracer. But that didn't happen because, as you said, they lost a member at the most unfortunate time, right when MVP Black took 10 and had to turn in. So, unfortunate.
Yep, that's when the snowball really started to roll into a snowman there, and basically it was as big as possible. It was as big as his apartment there, and there was some kill potential threats, like Rhaegar sometimes dives in to get the kill, but Hamlin, with the Pulse Bomb, when Lunara pokes in, they have to focus the target and really land on the Pulse Bomb all the time to get the kill. And other than Rhaegar also diving in, it was very tough for them to get the kill. That's the factor. And on the other side,